Poverty is not a scarcity of money, but a frostbite of choices. There is a man on the street who cannot bear the wind's gaze, and his bone rattles as a basso continuo under a white blanket of indifference. Human skin is not warmth. It is the unclouded momentary stroke of the mirror of the other. It is not an act of sympathy for knowledge, but an act of gently attaching the loneliness within another person to the cracks in our own hearts. We all must somehow survive this winter with only the temperature of our words and gazes, not blaming others for the shadows that fall at our feet, but not overconfident in our own sunshine. Self-doing is the repetition of a chosen destiny. However, the hand offered by others is always a byproduct of freedom. Compassion is not an emotion. It is the phenomenology of a miraculous illusion, the last dream that ethics has before it sleeps, where I can tremble at the pain of you. To be poor is not a shame. To dismiss it as someone else's problem is a desecration of language, a violence of silence. The reason in one's hand, the scales of profit and loss are shaken, and the sound of the poor wind rumbles behind one's reaching for greed. Time has passed and my rusty hands have forgotten the power to hold others. But the smile that floats there is more graceful than the dust of the world, and it fills the depths of my heart with serenity. It is my own circulation, and yet the warmth of human skin envelopes this pathway. It is a treasure that cannot be replaced by anything else, an echo that transcends human boundaries, a rhythm of life that sublimates even poverty. Those who have stepped into the abyss of poverty, their footsteps shake the soil, and with hands that have lost a handful of sand, they reweave their lives, but the threads of their hearts remain broken. The ignorant illusion that bet on that moment of relief, that gave its all. And now when I touch those poor hands, a moment of compassion shakes my soul. It is a warmth that envelops the cold reality, and it is also a sign of hidden pain. It is a sad spell of sympathy. The convergence point of the phases of cause and effect, spun by the self, is a return to a kind of nothingness. The superimposition of meaning dissolves, the fabric of attributes becomes thin, and existence reveals the contours of its own original form. This process of detachment, which is guided by an inner necessity, is itself a purified manifestation of one's own work. There, only the absolute zero of being itself drifts. But in this extreme state of reduction, a new threshold of recognition is opened. What is sensed in the realm before definition, before segmentation? It is the unmediated present wave of the existence of the other. It is a subtle and fundamental resonance that penetrates form and meaning, touching each other at the base of existence. By being touched by the poverty of others, we are forced to face the poverty that lurks within us. Therefore, the palm of this hand almost gives and then pulls back again. Deep within lies the whirlpool of nihilism into which we all fall. But it is in that vortex that the strength of the human heart is tested. Human nature, which can only be seen by reaching out a hand, reveals a new landscape that unfolds beyond. The existence that drifts in the shadows. The web of cause and effect that you have woven wanders with the dust of time as it shifts. The ephemeral but beautiful scourge of self that blooms in the garden of darkness is a shadow reflected in the mirror of merciless fate, and a piece of it becomes a silent dawn, illuminated as a cold but warm memory of human skin. The mistakes and sorrows of the self become layers upon layers, sublimating into a melody of forgiveness entrusted with the warmth of humanity. A small handful of light freezes the frozen darkness of the heart, and the compassion of human skin rescues a piece of oneself. And the reverberations of our own deeds, cast away in the wilderness, become seeds of new hope and breathe in secret in the midst of our earnest anguish. Human contact and the warm overlapping of skin are a soft azure tune that envelops the scars carved by the self, a fragile but sublime prayer against eternal loneliness. The contradiction and passion that lurk within me, while bearing this merciless fate, will eventually melt away into the distance of time, and as a single light, will once again greet the dawn of a new day. A life that, like a pebble, is scraped off the sole of a shoe without being picked up by anyone. Good intentions are bent like paper money, circulating like currency yet leaving no warmth in anyone's bosom. The corners of the mouths of those who look down on those who have fallen through their own karma, as they have fallen and speak of their retribution, are not honey, but sulfur bubbling at the corners of their mouths. A single can of coffee in the cracked hand of a winter station punctures the cold ethics. Touching is far more difficult than judging.